All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 43 of your Yellow Card Podcast, soccer-driven podcast presented to you by the one and only network, Couch Guy Sports. Make sure you tune in to couchguysports.com on your daily basis, weekly basis, however often you want, for all your sports and entertainment content brought to you by a local crowd of writers and a local crowd with plenty of podcasts on the network. Make sure that you check out the network altogether. That network, again, is couchguysports.com, presenting you the Yellow Card Podcast today. As always, your host, Diego Galvis, joined by Chris Jones and Andrew Fasciano. Fellas, it's episode 43. We are nearing 700 followers on Twitter, which is insane to even think about. How are we feeling tonight?
Scared.
Scared.
Well, I'm scared. I'm scared for Sunday, but that's just me.
So we'll get into that. I think there's a few factors that we should all be quite excited or scared or however we want to feel about coming up into this weekend. First and foremost, for any of you listening out there, please make sure that just as you tune in every week for the Yellow Card Podcast episode, this week especially, tune in into the Twitch channel on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Your Yellow Card Podcast will be live before the game, presenting you the Euro 2020 final between Italy, whether it's coming home to Rome, or England, if it's coming home. We will be live. We will be giving commentary. We might have some guests coming on or not. Who knows? If guests come on, they're welcome to do so. But either way, it will be a very special stream. Please make sure that you support the Yellow Card Podcast on there. The link will be coming either Friday of this week or sometime this weekend. Just make sure that you're checking the Yellow Card Podcast Twitter account. We'll make sure to make that announcement. But without further ado, we got some content to talk about here, boys, because the Euro 2020 semifinals just happened this week, and I think we can all say they were a phenomenal semifinal round, right? So we're going to start off with number one, hot takes of this round. Andrew, starting off with you. Any game, just give me the hot take of the semifinal.
Hot take of the semifinal is that I think Denmark scored the best goal of the round, even though they were eliminated. That free kick that they scored to take the lead was a thing of beauty from Damsgaard. It was not really right in the corner, I would say, but it just had so much pace on it that I don't think many goalkeepers would get near stopping that. So Jordan Pickford didn't have much of a chance, and I think it was one of the best free kick goals you'll see all tournament, in my opinion.
Nice. I like the hot take. We're starting off right. Jones, you, hot take?
Let's see. Two. Number one, Jorginho is the best penalty kicker of all time. Hands down.
All right. I like it.
Best penalty. Best at kicking a penalty shot is Jorginho, because you never know what he's going to do.
Sure. All right.
And the second thing, if Kasper Schmeichel wasn't blinded, Denmark would have beaten England in penalties.
Oh, we're getting cheeky already. I like it. All right. So for me, it's a couple of things. Number one, Italy without Spinazzola in defense, you really struggle. You need to get your shit together ASAP, especially for this final. Second one, anybody talking any more smack about Alvaro Morata, number one, you don't belong in following football or soccer or however you want to call it. And number two, do yourself a favor and just shut up, because you're just talking nonsense. The dude literally is the only reason why Spain did even had the opportunity to go into the penalty shootout. Whether he missed or he didn't in that penalty shootout, it doesn't matter. You guys, the rest of the team, failed to pull their own weight because you failed miserably. And my last take is, if Kasper Schmeichel is not getting paid at Leicester City the way that he should and deserves to get paid after this Euro 2020 performance, expect him to go to Bayern Munich. That's my tactic. So, all right, let's keep it hot, because the the iron is hot, and so we got to strike. Italy versus England. It is quite the battle we got coming up on Sunday. Absolutely incredible. Best, I guess some will say best two teams in the whole entire tournament. Some will say the most deserving teams for this final, or some will say just a battle of two titans, which I would probably put myself in that category, a battle of two titans. Because it's not fair to say that the two teams have been the best in the whole entire tournament. I think there's only one team that I would agree has been the best team there. For me, it's Italy. They've been 5-0. I mean, they've been undefeated since the beginning of this tournament. But I wanna hear, number one, expectations in terms of lineup, who you potentially see starting for either team. Number two, key factors for both teams, just like the top three key factors. And lastly, who do you see winning? So I can see Jones is already itching and thinking very, very fast. So I'm going to start off with Jones, and then I'll go to you, Andrew.
No, it's just sitting here looking at this matchup. All I can really think about, in my personal opinion, is just how lucky England is to be standing here in the final right now. Because if you look at their track record and what they've done in this tournament, right? Besides the win over Germany, they played a very easy group. They didn't look that great in the group. They can thank Raheem Sterling for helping them win the group because he basically scored every single one of those goals in there. Then against Germany in the round of 16, Sterling again gets the goal, and then you finally get Harry Kane to contribute. The Ukraine game, Ukraine was just outclassed the entire game.
Yeah.
Just from start to finish. You knew that England was going to outclass them. And then they played Denmark, who had the story of Christian Eriksen, and they played them tough. And I'm telling you, in my honest opinion, if Kasper Schmeichel doesn't get hit with the laser there, one, he already makes the save even with the laser, but he can't see, so he's kind of just diving there anyways. And the way he dove could have been different, and they could have avoided the rebound, which Harry Kane got and blasted in for the goal. So it's just two different things that can happen there. For Italy, though, I do agree. They definitely missed Spinozza in a big way. But they should keep everything the same. Chiesa should be in the starting lineup. Immobile, Insigne, Jorginho, Verratti, Cicciolini, Bonucci, and all the credit in the world, because Gianluigi Donnarumma has been the best goaltender in this. Actually, in my own opinion, we're getting the two best goaltenders from the Euro 2020 right now in Donnarumma versus Jordan Pickford. And also, another reason why England's been well is because Jordan Pickford didn't give up a goal until 30 minutes into the semifinal. That was the first goal he's given up all tournament. So for England, I think we're going to see more of the same. They're not going to start Jadon Sancho, and I won't understand why. I never will. But if they run the lineup like they did when they started against Denmark, and they have Saka starting, and they have Jack Grealish just coming on as their super sub, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. For me personally, I just, the way Southgate coaches just doesn't sit well with me. And personally, I think it's Italy's game to lose, in my opinion. I think Italy's going to win this game 2-1. And it's going to be because of Diego and my fella, Chiesa, who's just been the bright spot for Italy when they needed him the most.
So real quick, so you gave us your winner and you gave us who you think is important in each lineup. Key factors and style of play for both teams. What is important for England to do correct, and what is important for Italy to do correct if either team should want to win this?
If you're Italy, you gotta clean it up a little bit, because like you said to me off air, Diego, Italy's defense didn't look great against Spain. And with the firepower that England has, England can easily just open this game up with a goal right away, and Italy's just chasing the entire way. And that's definitely not what you need. If you're Italy, You want to be either up or at least tied after the first half. And then when you're working your way into the second half is when you start getting more creative, more attacking, and you can be able to get some real opportunities there. For England, you just have to keep defending. If you can keep defending to the level that you've been up to, you've only given up 1 goal in 5 games. If you can do that and have Jordan Pickford behind you playing his best that we've seen him play since the World Cup, I think the sky's the limit. But at the same time, I don't know. For me personally, I just think this Italy team is too dangerous, especially with the 3 strong attackers of Insigne, Immobile, and Chiesa.
Okay. All right. So you heard it here first from Chris Jones, his factors and his predictions and importance in lineup. Now over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to look at in this matchup. It really is a great matchup that this tournament has produced, I think, in the final. In terms of key ways for the 2 teams to play, I think one thing that I would look at for each team is if you're Italy, I think you need more of the ball than you had against Spain in the semifinals. They only had 30% possession, only generated 0.76 expected goals. So I don't think that's going to work against England. I think they need to get more of the ball and pressure the English defense more than they pressured the Spanish defense if they want to be competitive in this one. And England, I think at home in a final, they're going to want to come out and attack, but I think they need to make sure they keep their wits about themselves and don't commit too much too early, because if they come forward and give someone like Chiesa space in the box, he's shown time and time again in this tournament that he will make other teams pay. So I think they need to find that correct balance of wanting to attack in front of their home fans on a huge stage and not going too far and opening themselves up to Italy's counter.
All right.
In terms of players that I think are important to keep an eye out in this one, offensively for England, I would go Raheem Sterling. He's been pretty much in the starting lineup throughout the whole tournament. Southgate obviously has a lot of confidence in him, and he has delivered. Just about every goal they scored in the group stage, like Chris said, came courtesy of him. So if England are to get the offense flowing, I'd imagine it will come through Raheem Sterling early on, especially because we've seen Jack Grealish and Sancho probably are going to be more likely to be used as subs than in the starting lineup. Offensively for Italy, I would go with Federico Chiesa. He has been so good this tournament, like Chris and Diego have pointed out. He has really impressed me with his finishing ability. He's been able to make the most of chances in the box, take a touch and get it onto the foot he wants to shoot with, and has been very clinical. So I think he needs to do that again in this final for Italy. Defensively for Italy, I'm going to go with Chiellini to lead the way as the captain. I was very impressed with his demeanor heading into the penalty shootout against Spain. He was just not at all fazed by the moment, it seemed. And I think he needs to sort of show that same leadership in the final to show his teammates that, it's a big game, but it is another game. And you have to be nice and relaxed and confident going into that. And I think he can sort of lead from the back in terms of that. And then defensively for England, I have to go with my boy, Jordan Pickford. He's already got the Golden Gloves award for the tournament wrapped up. I think mathematically he has the most shutouts no matter what happens in this final, which he is thoroughly deserving of, in my opinion. He set the record, the shutout record for the English national team, I think, in the semifinals as well before Denmark got on the board. So I think he needs to come out and play like he's been playing all tournament and like he's been playing down the stretch for Everton as well. And I think he can do a lot of good once again to just sort of show the national media and international fans what he's capable of at his best. And now I guess all that's left is the score prediction, which I saved for last because I'm really torn on this one, to be honest. I mean, I could see it going either way for sure. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think Italy will want to try and make it a defensive chess match and maybe slow things down a little bit. England, on the other hand, will try and use their youth and their speed to try and break through the lines of Italy. In the end, I think the home field advantage for England at Wembley is going to play a role and is going to be a major factor. And I think it's going to be just enough to get England past Italy to win this one. I'll go with 2-1 to England in the final.
All right. So great takes there, Andrew. I think you brought up some great points there. Appreciate that. Real quick with me. So Italy. I'm going to start off with Italy real quick because my concerns continue to be defensively. I think this is an opportunity for Roberto Mancini to basically handle this Italian team the same way that he handled Manchester City when he first came in. One of the most notorious formations that Roberto Mancini went on with that really brought in huge results for him at Manchester City and should work for him equally here in Italy. And I'll explain why in a while. Should be a 3-4-3 formation. Now, why do I say that? Because if you go with the constant 4-3-3 formation that you have right now with Italy, while it works in theory for Italy in itself because of the style of play that they have, I think realistically you're doing yourself a favor in both ways. Normally you see England line up basically in like a 4-4, almost like a 4-3-3 formation at times turns into a 4-4-2 formation because their midfield spreads out to the wings, right? Never really goes straight into the attack. How do you prevent your team to get attacked down the wings? That 3-4-3 formation is what helps you there because realistically you have a solid background with Di Lorenzo, Bonucci, and Chiellini in the back, but in the front, now you have the opportunity to have Jorginho and Baratti work together really literally in the midfield in your formation, but you also expand the wing on the right for somebody like Manuel Locatelli, who is physical, who is young, and who can do those back and forth runs and basically be like a runner down that wing that can help defensively and can create chances up front for Italy. I think your other three formation, you shouldn't even touch it at all. In fact, as soon as you started bringing in Chiesa into the attack with Immobile and Insigne, it just brought up a huge amount of results for you that you've seen as the Italian head coach right now. And I think that's going to be a key factor for you right now. Another way that you could go about it too, if you don't really want to play Baratti just immediately from the get-go, you can even bring in Federico Bernardeschi to literally play in that same exact position with Jorginho as well, but he can be more of a centerpiece where he's helping expand the defensive side of things to become a 4-3-3, and he can still be in the middle playing with Bonucci and Chiellini because he can do that run, basically like a Scotty McTominay for Manchester United, because he's played that center back position before, but he's also played a stopper position before, and Bernardeschi is very successful with that position. Now, for England, what I would say is it is incredibly imperative for Gareth Southgate to have one or two things. Number one, you need to have a fully reliable center defensive mid to help with Declan Rice, because while Calvin Phillips has worked really well and can be a creative piece for you against Italy, you need to watch that creation of the offensive game starting from the midfield. And if you don't give Declan Rice that type of help, you're going to lose the game literally within 20 minutes of that game starting. So for England, what would be very important is to have Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson starting in that CDM position so that the rest of the midfield can take care of itself. Now, the rest of the midfield, it is important to have it is very important to have either Jadon Sancho starting, Jack Grealish starting, or even Phil Foden. Somebody that is young, a deadly attack in the midfield that can create chances for Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling. Because if you don't have either or, and you continue to maintain status quo as you started right now, I'm not sure that that's going to work with a streaky, fast, and sneaky good Italian team that can create chances, especially if they line up in that 3-4-3 formation. I would say that the key factors for England here is continue having Luke Shaw in the back and the back for you, and continue having Harry Maguire there. Those two have worked really, really well defensively for England. I mean, they have history working together already, not only just for the national team, but also for Manchester United. Luke Shaw has been incredible and has been a successful story for England in Euro 2020. And Harry Maguire has shown why he is the expensive defensive piece that he is for England, because in the aerial game, there's nobody better than him to defend than him himself. That's going to be another key factor here. For Italy, in the meanwhile, the aerial game explode the living hell out of Jorginho Chiellini and Leonardo Bonucci. Those two can head the ball very, very well and can create chaos in the middle for Harry Maguire and John Stones if those two are not fully covered correctly. Italy as well will need to be very creative in the middle. Hence why I'm suggesting that 3-4-3 formation with either a center defensive mid position or either a center assistant midfield position that could be fulfilled by either Locatelli or Bernardeschi. I think here the key factor as well is putting the pressure on the goalies. Technically, Donnarumma has been successful because while he's had some pressure, by the same token, he hasn't faced as much pressure as maybe he should have. And that was because of that great defensive back four that he had available for him at all times in this tournament. I think the most that he was challenged was up against Spain because of that absence of not having Spinazzola there. For Jordan Pickford, in the meantime, is keeping his emotions in check. He can fall apart very fast when he's in a ton of pressure if his defensive pieces are not there to help him. Obviously, that happens within the nature of that position. It happens to any great goalie, really. But for him, more than anything, it is imperative to keep those emotions in check, just because he's doing very well right now, coming back from a psychological setback that threw him off in the earlier season in the Premier League. And I think that if he can continue to carry on this performance, we could see a complete different Jordan Pickford in the Premier League once it starts. That will be exciting to watch as well as the Premier League unfolds. So those are my key factors. I think overall in score, I don't expect this game to be much of a high scoring game at all, because there are so many similarities with both teams. I think realistically what we're going to have is a 1-1 tie to the 90th minute through extra times. It's just basically going to be penalties. And Italy does have their great strengths. I mean, Jorginho is a great penalty taker, but so does England. At this point, I'm just not sure that I have a clear winner. I'm going to go with England because of that home advantage that's going to play a part in this game. But I think realistically, if Italy can manage to do things at the right time and listen, most importantly, to their manager who knows what he's doing, they can realistically steal this game as well. So those are my key factors there. That's my prediction. So either way, as I said earlier, tune into the Twitch channel because we're gonna be on there and we're gonna have a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of emotion. There's gonna be a lot of intensity. It's gonna be a very fun stream. All right, I am so stressed talking about this tournament right now that I don't know if any of you are, but I feel like I'm up for a massage. What about you guys?
I'm up for a staycation.
I'm up for a deep tissue massage. I'm up for that. So with that being said, the Yellow Card Podcast is also brought to you by the folks over at Exogun. If you don't know what Exogun is, number one, you need to get familiar. Number two, you really, really, really need to get Exogun right away, right now. It is the latest technology in massage therapy there is out there, trusted by the pros to do everything that you need it to do. It is portable, it is adjustable, it is powerful, and honestly, it just has a great delivery to it. And not only that, it incorporates the latest technology in massage therapy, which is percussion therapy. Any of you guys know what percussion therapy is?
I'm assuming you're going to tell me.
I'm hoping to tell you if I get the opportunity. Percussion therapy basically is a therapy that boosts muscles function and recovery by penetrating deep into the muscle tissue with a series of rapid, concentrated, pulsating strokes, gaining back control of your body and achieve long-term relief immediately while using exogun, which is absolutely phenomenal. You can thank the folks over at Couch Guys Sports who basically through means of partnership are able to get you guys, the fans, a discount code because we appreciate you guys so much for your continuous support. That discount code is CGS10, Charlie, Gabby, Sam, 10. Use it. 10% off of a expensive equipment is a saving grace. 10% off. Get it now. CGS10. Make sure you use it. You can thank us later. We'll love to hear all your comments. And hey, send us a video too if you want to. Just tell us that you use that code and that you're using that exogun right now. Just keep it PG-13. We don't want that dirty stuff. But anyways, talking about dirty stuff. Copa America.
What's so dirty about Copa America?
You guys might have noticed that I'm wearing the Colombian shirt because I still have not gotten over the amazing and dirty work that Colombia went through in Copa America to get to the semifinal against Argentina. And I think we can all agree, holy crap, what a movie of a game. That thing should have been, that thing should have Universal Studios written all over it because it is that just good of a movie. It was just so good. Andrew, Chris, did you guys happen to catch any of the game at all? Any of the highlights, anything?
I caught it because I'm a good co-host and I support my friends' teams, except for Manchester United. That's fine.
What about you, Andrew?
I'm a bad co-host, so I didn't catch it, but I did see a few highlights, and I mean,
well, Andrew,
that's all you need to.
Andrew, it was past your bedtime. You weren't going to watch the game.
There we go. It was past my bedtime. But I mean, from the highlights that I saw, no shortage of drama in that one at all.
No shortage of drama at all. A great game played by both teams, honestly. The most amount of drama literally came up at, first half, Argentina had Colombia by the throat. There's no question that. Argentina was showing the world class that they have, and they should. When you have Lionel Messi in there, it'd be really wrong of you of Argentina to not show the world class that you have in Lionel Messi, right?
Right.
But secondary to that, Colombia in the second half came in firing all for nothing. And honestly, I tip my hat to Porto's midfielder, Luis Diaz. That guy is just a young talent brewing a rapid speed like never before. And any big teams, whether in England, Italy, Germany, or whatever, that want to cash in on a low profile player like Luis Diaz, please do. That's the best way to pay off a guy that's just developing a lot of talent. He basically comes in the second half loaded with energy, in a sneaky situation of a breakaway of a corner kick for Argentina. Basically runs down the whole entire defense to the point of literally the end line where he just tips it over Emiliano Martinez and scores it in for Colombia, just sending all the Colombian fans in basically going berserk at this point because it was just a beauty of a goal. Nothing but grind in there for Luis Diaz. Then obviously in Copa America, one of the biggest changes that they made to that tournament was that in the semifinal rounds, if a game was tied, there would not be any extra time. It would just go immediately into penalty kicks, which in a way, weird way, it's weird because you used to see an extra time, but in a really, really good way, though, very watchful of the players' health, considering that COVID-19 is still striking heavily throughout South America right now. And so therefore, just being more cautious of anything than the health of the players more than anything. So they go into penalty shootouts, and I don't know if any of you saw as well, but Emiliano Martinez was just barking up a lot of talk. Honestly, I'll say this: I have nothing but respect for the guy. He really is a great goalie, and he's shown that he's worth every penny. But when you are at the peak of your career and you are this professional, you gotta know the talking this smack is gonna come back and bite you in the ass. I hope that doesn't happen in the final, which is also gonna be played, I believe, on Sunday, or I could be wrong. It could be Saturday actually. Now that I think of
Saturday
it.
because
Saturday.
Euro Sunday.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's gotta be Saturday against Argentina, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Then the battle for third place is tomorrow, Friday, July 9th at 8 o'clock between Colombia and Peru. Two very deserving teams of battling for this third uh, position, considering both teams were real underdogs this whole entire tournament. Nobody thought anything of these teams at all. And now they're fighting for third place. So kudos to both teams. Whoever gets it, very deserveful. Um, Fellas, what do you think the final here will be? Who do you think the winner of the battle between Messi versus Neymar in South America will be? I'm gonna start off with you, Andrew.
I really want Messi to have an international trophy with Argentina. It's something that is missing from his resume right now. I would argue not really through any fault of his own personally, but it is a hole in the resume. You can't argue with that. It's something that his great rival and the two players that always go hand in hand, Messi and Ronaldo has done it. Messi hasn't. So I would just from a fan perspective, I feel like Messi's resume wouldn't quite be complete without that. So I think that would be a nice moment, given all he's accomplished and all he's given to the world of soccer. I think that would be a really nice moment for him. Having said that, I also have rooting interest in Brazil as well because Richarlison has been pretty nice for them this tournament, I think, which hopefully he'll be able to use that momentum and into the Premier League season with Everton as well. But, thinking back to past Copa Americas, there's been so many times where Messi has gotten so close and fallen short at the hands of Chile a couple different times, I think. So I think this is the time that he finally gets over the hump and brings that trophy back to Argentina. I imagine it'll be a close game because Brazil is a very good team, but I think this could be a signature Messi performance to get the win.
All right, Jones.
Excuse me, be honest.
That's what
No,
10
I
rounds
agree.
would do to you.
No, I agree with Fasciano. Messi is missing one big thing in his. Well, he's missing one thing, and that's winning a trophy for Argentina. He hasn't done it with Copa America. He hasn't done it in the World Cup yet. This would be big time for his legacy. I think they need this a lot more than Brazil needs this. I think we'll see it. At the beginning of the tournament, we basically said it was Brazil's to lose. But the way Brazil's looked in some of their last matches, it kind of makes me want to give the edge to Argentina here because they're playing with, house money. They're playing with, we've never done this before. So let's just keep going with it and see how it goes. So for me, I'm gonna ride Argentina. I think Messi gets a free kick in the 85th, and they win 2-1 over Brazil.
All right, I like it. I think here's what I would say. While Brazil has been very talented given this whole entire tournament, they've also run with a lot of luck and a lot of controversy. A lot of these VAR calls have gone their way, and calls that really, when you look at them, they are so controversial that by the same token, you're wondering if this whole entire tournament is just rigged in itself. I mean, Copa America has had this history before too. Like when Copa America was in Colombia, like it was rigged. Colombia won it in a rigged way. And personally, as much of a fan that I am of Colombia, it wasn't our title to win it all that year. We won it still, not the correct way, but we won it still. But looking at things, I think there are two things here. number one, you need to, if you are Argentina, you need to be mindful of Neymar. Looking to be very chirpy and very dirty in his game, which unfortunately for Argentina, it's an easy trap to fall into, considering that in the second half when they were playing Colombia, they bought into that physical game with Colombia and they were creating a lot more fouls than Colombia was initially. I mean, Colombia was creating a lot of fouls in the first half because they needed to contain Messi. But if you're Argentina, what fouls do you need to be creating to contain Colombia? If anything, you just need to be one-on-one matches. That's all you need to do. I will say that for Argentina, there is a big disadvantage there. You're fighting against the VAR system and the referees as well. The referees have not been any good at all in this tournament. In fact, I mean, Brazil robbed Colombia of a clear victory with a referee interference that, even though the VAR was saying don't call it a goal because it's not clear, he calls it a goal because in his mind it's clear. He never interfered when the ball literally hit him on the chest. So if you're Argentina, you need to come in here with the mindset that you're the underdog here and that you need to deliver big time. If you're Neymar in Brazil, if anything, don't come in too arrogant. You've seen exactly what's happened when you come in too arrogant. And I don't mean to rub this in your face, but Germany did beat you at home at your own turf, 7-1 in a World Cup, in a World Cup environment. And there is nothing more humiliating than that loss that day in your home turf, in your full crowd. 7-1 against Germany. That's devastating.
Real quick before you go on, that was 7 years ago today, wasn't it? Or 7 years ago yesterday?
I believe so.
I didn't know that.
I believe so. So for Argentina, here's what I would say. 2 things you need to do right away if you're Scaloni. Number one, do not start Rodrigo de Paul. He does not deserve to start whatsoever. You need to bring in Angel Di Maria immediately in your starting lineup. Because here are 2 things that I will say. While Rodriguez is really good in the middle, right? You can shift Rodriguez over to the side and put Messi literally in the middle. Secondary part to that, you need to take advantage of the fact that you have Sergio Aguero in your bench. Use the damn freaking guy. Use him. There's nobody more lethal forward-wise in South America than Sergio Aguero. There is nobody else. If you are to start with your normal front in the back of Molina, Pizzella, Otamendi, and Tagliafico, what are you, Paul Heyman? Those two. Then you can have in your 3-3, you can have Di Maria, Rodriguez, or Messi, and Lo Celso, and then in the front 3, you can have either Di Maria, Martinez, and Aguero, or you can have Messi, Martinez, Aguero, and that in itself is just a scary lineup to face against Brazil. And Brazil's defense is absolute trash. Absolute trash. It is not by any means any good of a defense at all. Brazil's defense consists of Danilo, Marquinhos, Silva, and Lodi. Thiago Silva and Marquinhos are very, very good, but I hate to tell you this, Danilo and Lodi are nothing but snowflakes. They're useless in this whole entire defensive lineup. So that's all I can say. Fourthly, as Chris has put a 4th finger up, what I'll say is if Argentina plays their cards right, this is Argentina's game to win. I think it would be a beautiful thing, like you guys have said, for Messi to have that international cup in his resume. He deserves it. But we all know this tournament is gonna be rigged, and it's probably gonna be Brazil. So I'll leave it at that. Any final thoughts, fellas? Because Chris cut me down to 5, and I appreciate the countdown, but it was kind of awkward.
No, I was going on Diego's 5-step process and how the Copa America final was going to go.
I will agree to this, and Andrew brought it up. Richarlison has been very good for Brazil, and I appreciate how much talent he's brought in. But honestly, I can't see myself supporting a team that has been heavily reliable of whatever corrupted calls the referees want to make and whatever stupid excuses the VAR come up for them. You're Brazil. You're the 5-time world champion national team in the world. You're the most respected national team in the world. You've had the best history of any national team in the world with high-profile players like Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Romario. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You really need to be relying on refs in the VAR system to win and get somewhere far in your career? Come on. If you're Brazil, if anything, right now, this is embarrassing as hell. In the meantime, for Argentina, I agree with what both of you said. I think for Messi's luck, it's just been absolute trash because this Argentinian team does have much better talent than what they've had to offer. Unfortunately, just not the right calls being made by their coaches. But anyways, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Make sure you check out the Twitch stream on Sunday.
Andrew?
I agree with that. Yeah.
And Jones goes dark. Never fails.
We're on cue.
All right.
So you're supposed to end the episode, Diego. Come on, it's a bit.
So real quick, we have a battle for third place. And that's the last thing we got to bring up. Who do you think gets the third place? Colombia or Peru?
Do you want to be happy with me, or do you want me to?
No, you can go either way. I said it earlier. Both teams are deserving of that third place.
Andrew, who are you picking?
I would lean towards Colombia. I think Peru have punched above their weight a little bit in this tournament. I'm not really a CONMEBOL expert, but I definitely wouldn't have picked them to make it to the last four at the start of the tournament. So I think they've been impressive and would deserve it. But personally, I'd say with the roster that they have, Colombia would be favored in that one.
Okay. All right. Jones?
So I'm going to disagree with Andrew, and I'm going to say that Colombia is going to win the third place game.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, but you were leaning towards Colombia.
Oh, true.
I'm
true.
picking Colombia.
Oh, God.
Put a stamp on it. Jones pick Colombia. Bah.
Disagree. Stamp on it. Colombia. Pa. What's the last one? Yeah, I mean, I'm biased to say that Colombia could win it here, but realistically, Peru could also put up a really good fight. Yeah, they don't have the deepest lineup in their arsenal of offerings, but they do have a much younger crowd for them, and I think that could come into play for them big time here. So either way, a great game to check out tomorrow, Friday, July 9th at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Tune in to check out who wins that tournament. But for now, signing off of episode 43 of the Yellow Card Podcast, it's your host, Diego Galvis, your co-hosts, Andrew Fasciano and Chris Jones. Make sure that, as I mentioned earlier, check out Couch Guy Sports and use that Exogon CGS10 discount code. You will thank us later. CGS10. With that, hasta la vista, episode 44 coming in, I don't know, a week, 10 days, who knows? This boy needs a vacation anyways, and these boys need a vacation. So until whenever episode 44 comes out, see you guys, and thank you so much for your support.